think we're live.
All right, 6 p.m. We'll call the regular village board meeting to order. If you'd all join me in a moment of silence, please. The Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, you have the roll.
Trustee Mann.
Present.
Trustee Gerger.
Present.
Trustee Fountain.
Here.
Trustee Detmers.
Present.
Trustee Mao.
Present.
Trustee Churchill.
Present.
Village President Kimsey.
Present. Public announcements this evening. I'd like to take a moment and introduce Senator McClure, who's nice enough to come down and visit with us and share with us some of what's on his plate and listen to an update about Chatham earlier tonight. So certainly appreciate you and Scott taking the time to come down and talk to us. So.
Well, thanks a lot, Mr. President. Happy to be here. I'm very new, obviously. I've been in for a month, and I think I'm at the point where maybe about 20% of people who work in the Capitol realize I'm not a high school intern. However, things are moving at a pretty fast pace now at the Capitol, I've noticed. So with the $15 minimum wage bill passing the Senate, now it's up to the House, and Representative Murphy, we're going to see what he can do on that bill, and hopefully the House will make it better. I think it's going to really impact, unfortunately, Chatham and pretty much all this area in a very negative way, in my opinion. So we will see what happens with that. I finally have my office, 218 in the Capitol. All of you are welcome to stop by anytime. As I was speaking earlier with the President, we're looking for capital projects. We are hoping to support a capital bill, and anybody has anything they'd like to tell me about any such bill and any potential projects, please share that with me or come to my office or call my office. Scott Mills is here. He is my district office manager. He's got an office in Jacksonville. And Lucinda Dyer basically is my new boss because she schedules everything that I do. Everything goes through Lucinda. And she's just available if you call the office. And if you guys think there's some event that I need to be at or something that you guys need me to do, please feel free to call her. But aside from that, I just would like to say thanks for the invitation to be here. I'm happy to talk to any of you if you want to talk to me. Any issues I'm always happy to discuss.
I certainly appreciate your time, Senator.
Absolutely.
And feel no pressure to hang around for our entire meeting. I know you're a busy guy, and I think we'll make it through without state approval on what we need to do tonight.
Senator Terry Fountain, 30 years with IDOT, retired about 4 years or so ago. Half of that time was with local roads and streets at the district level. I know I was talking to Representative Murphy when he was here a few weeks ago. Just remember, almost every trip starts and ends on a local street. Just make sure there's a good local component in whatever capital bill that does occur. I work with counties, municipalities, townships. They are hurting just as much as the state is as far as transportation needs. But every trip does start and end pretty much on a local street. So any money you can get this way would be great towards Chatham.
You'll be glad to know that last week I had constituents from Greene County and Jersey County come in, and they made that point for about a good 45 minutes in my office. So I'm glad that you're making it as well, but it's definitely something that I realize, and I think most people don't realize how few funds we get to improve local roads. And that's unfortunate.
A lot of people think it's 19% per gallon. It's 19 cents per gallon. There's a lot of people who don't equate that. They go, well, price of gas went up, so gas tax has gone up. Now it's 19 cents, whether it's $2 a gallon or $4. So.
Well, the thing is about obviously a potential proposal for a gas tax or anything else. We still don't have a concrete proposal for a funding mechanism for the capital bill.
Correct.
So I'm wanting to support a capital bill. We have to have fair funding for the whole state, not just Chicago.
Understood.
We can't have some sort of crazy scheme that's either unworkable or is going to cost us tons of jobs and businesses as far as how to fund that.
Yeah, or bond the state. from now until whenever
Yeah.
to try to fund it. Yeah, no, I totally agree there.
I'm anxious to see to listen to the governor's address, which I believe is next week, and we'll see what he has to say. But at that point, I think we're going to get some concrete, ideas as to what he's going to actually propose to do, not just talking about well maybe this or maybe that. Everybody does that kind of stuff on the campaign trail. We'll see now that we're here and he's got overwhelming majorities in both houses what he's going to actually propose. I'm anxious to hear it.
All right, thanks again, Senator. We certainly appreciate and value your time.
Thank you.
Like I said, no pressure to stay. Public comments on agenda topics. Ms. Parker.
Yep, I just have one of those, and forgot to sign up on the other one for the end of the night. I was wondering about the police cars.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the second one on the agenda when it first came out?
They've been up there since Friday.
Are you talking about the attachment or the item?
I think the ordinance, for some reason, was not attached to the, I think it was listed on there, but.
The action item, but not the document.
Yeah. Not
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many police cars, if you elect to buy these two, how many police cars is that going to make that we have for Chatham?
I think Chief Foley, you've got those numbers correct.
I believe it was 18, but typically, right now, I've got 5 of my squad cars right now have over 100,000 miles. 2 of them we keep as pool cars.
Where are you going?
You drive all day long. They're driven constantly. I mean, they're on patrol all the
We
time.
try to keep a couple of spare cars as well in case one breaks down or has to go to shop for maintenance. We try to keep a spare, so that way it's just a billable car.
Do we have an end point at any time, or we're just going to put newer ones in as they go, other ones get old?
Yeah, typically, when you're looking at 100,000 miles, it's not necessarily the miles, it's the hours that you put on the car as well. But, when you're running over 100,000 miles, it makes it's pretty much the end of life for a squad car.
The squad car? Yeah, because most cars now, I see people have putting 200,000 miles on them. So.
We had a Toyota Camry, but I wasn't going to chase anybody down with 200,000 miles on a Toyota Camry.
Why not? That's the fun of it. So that was my only question about it just seems to me like I stand up here every year and I talk about police cars and how many, and we're buying another one and another one and another one. Because this is a small town, it can't be too far you can go.
All right, thank you, Ms. Parker.
Thank you.
No further public comment on the agenda. We have a motion to put the consent agenda on the table.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mao has made a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
Questions or discussion regarding the minutes or warrants? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Fountain.
Yes.
Trustee Detmers.
Yes.
Trustee Mao.
Yes.
Trustee Churchill.
Yes.
No old business under new business. Item 1 is an ordinance approving the purchase of 2019 Ford Interceptor all-wheel drive for the Village Police Department. Do I have a motion to put that on the table?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fountain's made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Detmers. Any further questions for Chief Foley? I know you talked about this through committee when we were doing the appropriation line item transfers on where these were headed. I think he just answered the question on how many there are and how they rotate out.
Yeah.
It's been
And I also know
2 years since you bought new vehicles, or
We bought some last year.
bought some last year and just continue to cycle them out? So
and I know they were both set up through the state
state purchasing contract.
joint purchase contract, so didn't need to worry about the bidding requirements.
Further discussions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Fountain.
Yes.
Trustee Detmers.
Yes.
Trustee Mao.
Yes.
Trustee Churchill.
Yes.
Item 2 is an ordinance approving the purchase of 2019 Ford SUV for the Village Police Department. Can I have a motion to put that on the table?
Could we table this only for the reason that the ordinance isn't attached? I'm just concerned since it's.
Would you like a copy? It is there.
It is,
Well-
it is attached now, correct?
Jeff, you can clarify this.
I just.
The requirement is the action item listed. The actual document behind it isn't, but the posting of an agenda with the item that you're going to act, the descriptor of the item you're acting on,
Up until the meeting started, I couldn't see it, so I don't know what's on it.
And I can, if
We have a motion to bring it to discussion first, and then
I'll make that motion.
trustee Fountain's made a motion.
I'll second that.
Second, trustee Churchill.
Yeah, and I can, just based on some discussions with staff last week, can maybe fill the board in a little bit on this, and I'm sure the chief can as well, but this is going to be for the purchase of an SUV in the amount of $37,130. There will be a ordinance coming forward in a couple of weeks approving a lease agreement for the funding of this vehicle. There's currently an RFP out on that right now, and I don't know when that is due, but it's either within the next few days or the past couple of days. And then, so that'll be, the funding mechanism will be coming for this in the next couple of weeks. But they wanted to go ahead and approve or authorize the purchase so that they could work with the dealer to go ahead and start to get the vehicle ordered and equipped and get it in the cycle. So, Chief, you can probably add anything or answer any other questions.
So it's pretty much identical to the other one. The only difference is it says that there's a lease going to
Yeah,
follow.
that's right.
Further conversation, discussion, or questions? You're good? Madam Clerk, would you take the vote?
Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Fountain.
Yes.
Trustee Detmers.
Yes.
Trustee Mao.
Yes.
Trustee Churchill.
Yes.
All right, public comments on village business. Ms. Parker,
Yeah.
I signed you in, by the way,
Oh, thank you.
and now I've crossed you out, so I don't call you again.
I have just two things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, what is the status of the garbage situation? People are talking about it all over town. People are ticked off. I mean, have you gone around to other, and, you know, work with other communities and things like that to see how they've done it or how they're going to do it, or it's hanging in limbo?
The discussion on the garbage is just that. It's discussion over potentials and possibilities. And we've been working with the carriers that work here in town to try to draft something to get better information of it. What the board is looking for, and Trustee Gerger, Chairman Gerger has explained this, quite well on several occasions. They're looking for good information upon which to make decisions for it. And the only way to get that information from the haulers that operate in our area or are interested in operating in our area is to phrase the question and put them out for them to respond with it. Nobody on the board has said they're going to be for or against 100% doing a single source garbage provider or continuing in the same fashion they are. They're asking for information on it. And they're doing it in a very deliberate and public fashion to have a discussion on it, which is what people want done with big topics. And so there's a lot of facets to what's being discussed here. Among them is garbage, but also in there is the use of village staff and the allocation of man hours through the village on leaf bag programs, on branch pickups, the time that is spent on the large item disposals through it. So a very multifaceted discussion that's going on, and they're doing it in a very deliberate and public fashion, which they should be commended on doing. And nobody has rushed and said we're doing this or we're doing that, and anyone that is saying otherwise is out just to try to stir hatred and angry.
Well, I think part of that problem is that people don't know what's going on. And maybe you could put out something that says we're still working on it, or we're looking at this, or we talked to so-and-so, but people have no idea what's going on, and they're getting fed up.
I believe that at every meeting, either myself, Administrator McCarthy, or Chairman Gerger has said the same thing, and that is also been reported at least once through the, Clarion in what they're doing. So that information is out there. If that's not the message that others are relaying beyond that, try as we might, we can't control what somebody does with what's actually going on once they take it to social media. And God help you if you try to tie.
And I will say one thing to correct you, Mr. President. I have come out and said I am against.
Well, I stand corrected. One guy does not want to hear the information. The rest of us.
No, I said I'm okay. No, I said I'm okay with getting the information.
I'm giving you a hard time, Matt. But that's it. And so you've heard it again now. Right here. Very clearly, What there is looking at ways to solve complex solutions. This is one facet of it. And, many boards are asked repeatedly, don't do behind the scenes deals, don't go behind a closed door and make a decision and sign a contract. And these guys, to their credit, have gone out of their way to have this in a public forum, as public as we can get, with all of us sitting right here on the camera, and have this discussion very openly involving the waste haulers in this, and continue to involve them to try to shape this and solve some problems and move the village forward. That's what they're doing. So.
And also to consider the cost. There's a lot of people, retired people or older people who never worked, who are living on Social Security, and they can't afford big bills for.
And absolutely, and the only way we're ever going to know what anybody would charge the village of Chatham if they had the entire contract to pick up garbage in Chatham is to ask the question. And so they may come back and everybody will look at it and go, oh my God, why didn't we do that, 20 years ago? Or they may look at it and go, well, there's no way we want to do that. But the only way they're ever going to know to make that decision is to ask those questions, and that's what they're doing.
Have we sent any, did you say that you sent things out, questionnaires out to the garbage pickup people?
They've seen the same drafts that everybody else has seen that have been made available on the RFP. It was a month ago, I believe, that representatives from all three major haulers that operate on a residential basis in the village were at the meeting in here. Each one of them given ample time to give their comments and suggestions on how to better structure that RFP. What we want is the best kind of response for it. And in order to do that, we have to understand how those three and any others that are expressing interest in looking at this request, which is just a request for information, is, and how to structure the question. We have to ask the right question so that they're able to respond within their capabilities and give us something that we can evaluate. So there's no alarm. There's nothing immediate going to happen. Nobody's trying to run anybody out of business. We have multiple things that we look at with our staff, how to better utilize our street department and put our employees in a spot where they're doing the work that they're best trained for, and they're the ones that are capable of doing, versus spending their time picking up leaves and branches. We're dealing with that. So
I don't have to worry about that.
There's a very short answer to your question.
The guy who cuts my grass takes all of it.
And I guess the one thing I would add is, that was a discussion item that was set for the committee of the whole, which has been canceled for this evening, rescheduled to the
2 weeks, push back.
2 weeks from now. I'm assuming it will continue to be a discussion item. So anyone you talk to, tell them to either tune in or come and visit at 6:15 on the 26th.
Almost to a person, everybody that has watched that discussion that occurred here a month ago or was in the audience when they occurred, walked away and said, okay, I get it. I absolutely understand what they're doing, where they're at, and all the noise along the side is just that. It's noise.
And we also did.
That's why I can't stand things dragging on for months and months and months.
Welcome to government.
Well, I'll tell you two things. Number one, I haven't talked to anybody outside of my four walls of my home about that since we talked about it a month ago. Number two, my email address hasn't changed in 2 years. So any questions can still go to that email address. My phone number is still published, so I'm open to have the conversation with anybody at any time.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berger.
And I also,
did you have, I think we beat this into the garbage.
I do want to say we also talked about the utility meeting the night before. I thought that was great. We had the reps, but so there's been ample time. Yeah. And I just want to, you just made a comment that you don't like things to carry on. The second we were to do this really fast, you'd be in here saying, you guys just,
went too
fast and did this without getting all the information.
I'm a big proponent of speed because I do things fast, I get it done. What is it my husband used to say? I do one thing, I do it very well, and then I move on.
All right. Well, let's not let our time waste with garbage discussions.
Yeah. And my last statement was about the meetings. I was wondering why we're having so many cancellations and shifting about.
This is a personnel issue on why things changed tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and also with the utility commission, so it'll move. We're going to try to move that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To do it the Monday before the committee of the whole and do that too.
Okay. I wasn't here for 6 days, but felt like a month, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. No further comment? Schedule of the meeting is printed. The committee of the whole that was scheduled for 6:15 tonight has been rescheduled for the 26th of February following the board meeting. ADA transition plan
Next Tuesday.
February 19th at 6. Planning Commission scheduled for February 21st at 6. The board meets 6 o'clock on the 26th. Public Properties and Recreation Committee meeting scheduled for March 11th at 6. And the Utility Oversight Subcommittee meeting 6 p.m.
We're going to try to do
to
February
be determined.
25th.
At 6.
Yeah, February 25th at 6 if we could.
Okay, we do have need for executive session. Can I have a motion to move to executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Hang on. You got to get all the language right. For semi-annual review of executive session minutes under 2C21's exemption and also briefly collective negotiating under 2C2.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. To move to the whatever
All
he
those
said.
things. Madam Clerk.
Yes. Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Fountain.
Yes.
Trustee Detmers.
Yes.
Trustee Mao.
Yes.
Trustee Churchill.
Yes.
Collector's item now.
Yeah, I assume there will be
We'll have no further business after the executive session. All we'll do is come out and adjourn, reconvene our meeting, and then adjourn the formal meeting. So you can turn that camera on.